Hey there, and welcome back to the Minny Weekend. I'm your host, Jack. Let's get into it. So tonight we went with Athletic Brewing Co's their Run Wild IPA. Now before we jump into that, I did have some people reach out to me, and it was actually kind of bittersweet because when you get this type of interaction, people care about you and they're actually listening to your content. They really enjoy it and all that kind of stuff. But yes, I know I didn't do a podcast last week. It's been kind of a crazy couple weeks, and it's going to be a crazy next couple weeks as well. I may not have mentioned it on the podcast, but my wife and I are expecting our third child, so there's just been a lot of things going on, a lot of craziness, especially with two little ones already running around. So like I said, be patient with me. I know some of you might already be looking at the Instagrams and the TikToks and gosh, he's getting kind of lazy. Again, be patient with me. The Olympics have been happening. I kind of want to be doing some stuff with that and all that kind of stuff. But you're right. You guys deserve some good content, and I love making that good content for you guys and posting that. So like I said, just continue to be patient with me. Let us work through these next couple of weeks, and by the time March Madness rolls around, we're going to be cooking with gas. So moving right along, like I said, during the podcast, we went with Athletic Brewing Co.'s Run Wild IPA, and I thought I've had Athletic Brewing Co. before, but I couldn't remember if I've tried this one or not, and I have not. It's really good. So quick fun fact, it is actually not from Minnesota. It's actually manufactured and based out of Milford, Connecticut, but it was founded by two guys who, one of them actually used to work on Wall Street, and he went out a lot, had a busy life, had a busy everything. And one day he miraculously kind of had this idea of, I wish there was a beer I could drink or a drink I could drink that wasn't going to affect him the morning after. So him and he approached a guy, and they essentially came up with Athletic Brewing Company. And for those of you that might know about it or have heard about it or have seen it, they kind of brand themselves as like the beer for athletes. If you go to some of these running sites like the Twin Cities Marathon and stuff like that, like it's really popular because if you're training for a marathon, that you kind of dial back the alcohol, you eat well and everything like that. So it's pretty common after that, your first drink to be a beer. It's kind of like a celebratory thing. And some of these sites actually have Athletic Brewing Co. pictures and stuff on them and have them available after races and stuff too, which is super cool. And awesome. Before we get more into Athletic Brewing Co. as a whole, so if you go to athleticbrewing.com, you can find out, just like every place else, you can find out everything you need to know about Athletic Brewing Co. There is a lot to know and a lot you can find out. You can actually even join the club and become a member, subscribe and save, so you can subscribe to, just like anything else, membership on a monthly, every 2 months, every 3 months, and they send you free stuff, they send you drinks and all that kind of fun stuff. I'm actually not right now a member, but I am considering it. But one thing I do want to say, this is one of their bestseller. It won Tasting Alliance Beer Competition in 2023, gold, World Beer Awards in 2022, won gold, and in the U.S. Open Beer Championship in 2022, they won gold. It's won over 20 plus awards, and it says Run Wild is the ultimate sessionable IPA for craft beer lovers. Brewed with a blend of 5 Northwest hops, has an approachable bitterness to balance the specialty malt, bold body, always refreshing, and only 65 calories. Reading up on them and actually watching a video about them, that was actually a key thing that they wanted. They wanted something that tasted like a beer but didn't have the side effects of it the next morning, but something that was not only that, but kind of tasted well, but also was kind of good for you. 65 calories, set 14 carbs, and actually less than a gram of protein in this in 12-ounce can is unbelievable. And if I'm being completely honest with you guys, if I were to pour this in a glass and give it to 5 of my friends who drink IPAs, I'm guessing at least 4, if not 5 of them probably could not have told by the end would say that that was a non-alcoholic beer. For those that are interested or looking to make the switch, non-alcoholic beer has come a long ways in the last couple of years. Obviously, there's different tiers. I would say Athletic Brewing Co. is at the top of the list, top of the tiers in terms of non-alcoholic beer. So go check them out, athleticbrewing.com. They are all over social media, Instagram, Facebook, X, YouTube, TikTok. And you can just read up on everything. You can subscribe, join the club, you can answer, you can find out everything you need to know about them. They have so many different types of stuff that you can buy. They have gift stuff, they have non-alcoholic beer, they have their best sellers, limited editions, members only stuff, non-alcoholic cocktail inspired brews. So they have Paloma, Moscow Mules, the Curb Royale. You can get a Moscow Mule cocktail mug, Paloma cocktail glass. Lots of really cool stuff. They have variety pack, non-alcoholic light beer, sour non-alcoholic beer. They have sparkling water, which is a day pack. They're doing so much stuff. They have merch and apparel that we can get. Really cool. I didn't even look at this until right now. Some of the stuff, guys, I might have to get busy getting some of this stuff if I'm being completely honest. Lots of really cool stuff. Like I said, if you guys have not heard of them already, go check them out. And, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I haven't been in much of a non-alcoholic beer drinking as of lately. Earlier in the fall, like with football season, I was a little bit, and kind of in the summer, I get a little bit. But for the most part, I don't really even get the itch or the urge to have, something that tastes like beer. So it's been a while, but I have to say this tastes very good. It's hoppy. Excuse me. It's got, if you're somebody, I'm kind of at a loss for words here. It's very good. Malted barley, oats, hops, wheat, yeast. I can't say enough about this company. I've seen a bunch of their stuff all over the internet. I've had some of them before, but you guys want to know what I think of this and what I rate it. So for the first one we've tried, I'm gonna go 7-8. I think it's really good. This is something that I would get again. But if I'm being completely honest, it's probably going to be a while until I get more. I did not realize having some before. I did not realize they had so many different things. You can find out just like everything else. Learn more about them. They have events that they got going on at different locations throughout the U.S., stuff like that. But you can also find where they're bought, and you can actually simplify it down to, if you're looking for a specific one, where you can get it. You can find out where you can get it in restaurants or just at liquor stores as well, which is pretty dope. So go check them out, athleticbrewing.com, 7.8, and all over social media, Instagram, Facebook, X, YouTube, and TikTok. So that's what I got for you guys tonight. On Drink of the Podcast. And then for Tommytown, we got a little bit of news on all of them as they're wrapping up regular season. So coming in for the men's team, their second to the last week of the season. St. Thomas Tommies are number 15 in the nation. And then right behind them, Michigan, fellow CCHA member, Michigan Tech is 16. Minnesota State is 17. And Augustana is 18, which is awesome too. So yeah, it's pretty crazy to see the love that the CCHA is getting, and it's even more awesome to see St. Thomas on top. But I bring this up because St. Thomas being 18, they are currently this weekend taking on number 18 Augustana, vying for that number 1 seed for the conference championships. Obviously, like a lot of us hockey fans know, seeding, unless you're in the NHL, doesn't mean too much. The better team is usually going to win regardless of all that. Coming into this weekend, St. Thomas is currently sitting at number 1 as they have the tiebreaker with Michigan Tech Huskies, 48 points apiece. Augustana with 47 points. So points are at a premium these final 4 games. And right now, if the season were to start, everything would start before this, Ferris State and Northern Michigan would be playing each other for a chance to play us in a 3-game series, which is pretty awesome. So that's how the standings look out. And then before we get into these last couple games, there is a little bit of news. One of them being kind of St. Thomas Athletics as a whole, and it was announced back on February 16th, so around the time of our last podcast, or should have been last podcast. It was announced that the University of St. Thomas will begin offering beer sales at the Lee and Penny Anderson Arena starting today's game against Augustana on February 20th. This is going to expand availability from premium areas only to the entire venue. It says alcohol sales will be conducted in accordance with university policies and applicable state laws. I'm guessing the biggest one is going to be ID. But yeah, it says the update comes as Tommy Athletics enters a busy stretch of home events across multiple sports. St. Thomas men's hockey is currently in first place in the CCHA standings, entering the final 2 weeks of the regular season, and will host Augustana this weekend with the opportunity to secure home ice for the playoffs. And the women's hockey team also remains in contention for its highest finish in the Division I era in the WCHA standings, hosting Minnesota State on Friday and Saturday this weekend. Then on the basketball side, Johnny Tower and the basketball team sits in second place in the Summit League as the team continues conference play. And the women's basketball program will honor longtime head coach Ruthson during the final home game of her career on February 25th. We will get into that in just a moment. But yeah, that was released on the 16th, and then on the 17th, it was announced Lucas Wallen won the Central Collegiate Hockey Association Player or Student Athlete of the Year. It says they recognize outstanding achievements both on and off the ice in its annual Student Athlete of the Year award. Lucas Wallen is the latest recipient of this prestigious honor. He is the first, obviously, Tommy in Division I history to win this award. He is a business administrative major with a minor in sports management. He carries an impressive 3.85 cumulative GPA and has earned Dean's List recognition every semester and exemplifies academic excellence while balancing the demands of D1 hockey. A third-year captain for St. Thomas, Wallen has led the Tommies through a critical period of growth. And lastly, head coach Rico Blasi had this to say about Wallen. Lucas embodies our culture on and off the ice. His ability to navigate his rigorous coursework while continuing to lead our team is very impressive. So a huge shout out and congratulations to him. Obviously a very big deal and a very big honor. So yeah, and then like I mentioned, the men's team in their final 4 games of the season, they haven't updated it. Augustana number 18 tonight. Tomorrow will be at 7:07 p.m. and then they will wrap up the season up in Bemidji for a 2-game series with the Beavers. And then for the women's hockey team, no real new news for them in terms of actual news and things of that nature. But they're wrapping up their season here. They are set in stone for the 7th seed, and depending on this final week here, will either go to Ohio State or Wisconsin, depending on, I think they're only, when I checked here, they were only separated by a single point. Yep, Ohio State with 67 and Wisconsin with 66. So should make for a good final season. And you have to baby steps. This is their first time not finishing in dead last in the WCHA. This WCHA with Mankato, St. Cloud State, UMD, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Ohio State is a gauntlet. So once they get their here in the next couple of years, they're going to be right in the thick of things. I just know it. But yeah, like I mentioned, they unfortunately fell earlier tonight, 2-5 to Minnesota State. But tomorrow at 2 p.m. we'll wrap up the regular season against the Mavericks before getting started in WCHA playoff play. And then no real new news for the men's basketball team since the last podcast, which was February. Today's the 20th, so we didn't do one last week. Trying to do the math in my head here. So 2 weeks ago was around my birthday. So they went 1. Weird. Since we've been on last, they've only had 3 games and have gone 2-1. They beat Oral Roberts February 7th at home. Went to Omaha, lost a heartbreaker, and then just beat the Roos in Kansas City on Love Day, as my son calls it, by 20 points, and are getting set for a game in Denver, Colorado against the Pioneers tomorrow at 5 p.m. And then the next one will be the game on the night of the next podcast. Yes, we are still going to be going forward consistent with Thursday night podcasts. Again, I know it's Friday. Once again, be patient with me. North Dakota State at home on February 26th, 8 p.m. game. Nolan Minnesota continues to do his thing, balling out, doing unbelievable things, not just for the Tommies, not just for the state of Minnesota, but nationally as well. He's getting recognition, one of the best players in terms of points and field goal percentage and 3-point percentage, which is awesome. And then, like I mentioned a little bit ago, Ruth Sin. So it was announced back on February 10th, actually, that she announced her retirement following the 25-26 season. A mainstay of UST women's basketball for more than 2 decades, announced she will retire after this season, who spent 25 years with the program as both a player and a coach, and will be honored and celebrated, like I mentioned, during the team's final regular season home game on February 25th. St. Thomas has been a home to me and for my family for nearly my entire adult life. Sin said, who is the winningest coach in program history. Ruth Sin through the years. She is the first female coach in department history to win 400 career games. She has compiled an overall record at to date 17 and 169 in 21 years as a head coach. 2012 National Coach of the Year finalist. 2002 Minnesota State Girls Basketball Coaches Association Hall of Fame inductee. A 10-time MIAC tournament champion, a 4-time MIAC Coach of the Year, a 2-time West Region Coach of the Year, and coached 5 WBCA and D3Hoops.com All-Americans, including the 2017 D3Hoops.com Player of the Year, Caitlin Langer. A huge congratulations to her. I don't believe they have her replacement yet, but there's going to be some big shoes to fill here regardless. And congratulations to her. Super appreciative of everything she's done. She has left a lasting legacy at St. Thomas and for the women's basketball program as well. But the girls are continuing to kind of stay right at the middle ground here. They're currently at 13 and 14 overall. 6 and 7 in conference play, and are currently still kind of actually doing pretty well lately. They've won 3 of their last 4 games. They dropped their last game on Thursday, but they got a game 1 o'clock tomorrow in Grand Forks against the Fighting Hawks, and then on the 25th, Wednesday, they have a game at 7 p.m. against the Kansas City Roos. And then lastly, we're not going to rattle off everybody, but back on February 9th, St. Thomas football announced its 2026 signing class. I thought we'd just kind of go through. It looks like we got a couple mid-year transfers. Trent Buda, linebacker from Iowa Western Community College. Brian Domino from UConn and Indiana State. Mercedes Ford from Rowan. Noah Long from Valparaiso. Anthony Policare, quarterback from Buffalo. Jackson Powers, defensive back from the U of M. Sam Shaughnessy, quarterback from Air Force, just to name a few. And then let's see if we can find Kiefer Baxter, incoming freshman from Northfield, Minnesota. Joseph Mapson from Andover, Minnesota, wide receiver. Let's see if we can find a couple other Minnesota guys. Peyton Allen from Sartell, defensive lineman. Henry Byrne from Woodbury, Minnesota, played for Eastridge. And then Malachi Quadri, defensive line from Farmington, Minnesota, who played for Apple Valley. So a huge congratulations to all of this team. Like I said, 38 of them total, 28 high school signings, and 10 transfers. Should be, once again, due for a good season up ahead here. They still have not got anything concrete, but hey, you gotta look forward to something, right? So yeah, now to one of my favorite parts of the podcast here, UNRL. Tonight I am rocking the from their Miracle capsule. This one is their, what do they call this one? The UNRL 1980 Miracle Ultra Hooded Long Sweatshirt, or long sleeve. I love it. It's very similar to that, the Ultra shirts. I love the feel. It helps you feel warm. It helps you feel warm. It kind of gives you a sense of being cool too, which is awesome. I actually do have, I'm not wearing it tonight, but I do have the Navy hat. And I'm actually wearing the Cadet Gray UNRL golf hat tonight, which I love and can't wait to wear come golf season. But I mean, if you guys don't know how popular this stuff is, the 2 elevation hoodies, the 3 long sleeves, the 2 hats, they sold out so quickly that UNRL pretty much came out and said, unreal. Sorry, a lot of people don't like it when I call it UNRL. But they sold out so quickly that they essentially came back and gave people a second chance to buy some of it, not all of it. But I want to say, I think the hats, in between the 5 different hoodies, I think 2 or 3 of them, and all that stuff got immediately sold out pretty quickly too. So super, super awesome things. And honestly, with the Olympics coming up, I didn't think they were going to do something like this, but it also didn't surprise me that much. But really cool that they did it. I'm glad I was able to grab some myself. Like I said, super comfortable kind of stuff. And then just when you think, gee, it's like they're doing so good, like they're doing awesome, they're always coming up with new colorways for like certain things and different looks and styles and stuff like that. But just when you think, okay, what are they going to do next? It's going to be a while. Nope. Since this dropped, they've already announced 2 new collaborations. Is Minnesota United FC, the hometown collection. There's going to be 3 drops. Drop number 1, and this is a really cool thing about the one that they're doing with the Loons. They're doing an online drop and and then the same kind of stuff that they're dropping for each one, they'll have available in Allianz Field for the next game. So the first one is going to come out in a couple days here on Tuesday, coming out on the 24th, and then will be available at Allianz Field for the 2/28 game. Drop number 2 will be March 15th online, and then March 22nd's game. Then the third and final drop will be on April 14th online and April 18th for the game, which will be pretty sweet. Like I mentioned, first one there, if you go to the website, it's called Loon Black. Loon Black is a celebration of Minnesota United's FC's identity, a nod to both the club's iconic crest and the fans, inspired by the raw energy, unshakable loyalty, and gritty Midwest resilience found in the stands at Allianz Field. So do not miss out. I'm kind of excited. My brother's a big Loons fan, and I like watching some of the games with him. I've never really gotten super into it, but they are fun games to watch. And then the other collaboration to keep your eye on is there's an era capsule coming out for the Wild. It's unfortunately due to NHL restrictions, will be another in-arena exclusive release on March 3rd, but unfortunately, once again, it looks sick as fuck. So, but yeah, that should be really cool. Like I said, I don't need to bore you guys. You hear it every single time. Unreal is literally unreal. They're top of the line at athleisure as far as I'm concerned. They have everything from polos that you can wear to the dress, that you can wear to golf, that you can wear to work, that you can dress up. They got shirts that you can work out in, dress down, go to the bar, hang out with friends, sweats, pants, socks, hats, winter hats, sweatshirts, vests, anything you name it. Men, women, kids stuff. I can't say enough about them. My kid has some stuff. My wife has some stuff. Yeah, they're top of the line, and not just athleisure, but just in clothes, in my opinion. I mean, they're comfortable, durable. I mean, being a dad of 2 and with a puppy, I wash this stuff pretty much after every single time I use it, and none of this stuff is getting worn. It's unbelievable. It's great material, and it lasts. If you haven't, unrl.com is our website. And then they're all over social media as well: Facebook, X, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, all that fun stuff. But lastly, and most importantly, make sure you check out the link in my bio of the YouTube video that we post for each episode, and use my link. If you use my link, you get $15 off your first order and start accruing points right away that you can redeem later for anywhere from $15 to $50 off your orders. And that's what I got for you guys. Go check them out if you haven't, and tell them their friends at the Minny Weekend sent you. So yeah, now, before we get into a couple of our professional sports, wanted to give a big shout out to the Olympics. The Olympics are slowly coming to a close here. I believe the final day of the Olympics and the closing ceremonies are in just 2 days on the 22nd. But earlier yesterday, the women's hockey team won gold in 2-1 fashion over Canada. Fun fact, I cannot remember the girl's name. This girl is a dog. She saw 90, where was it? She saw 99 shots in 6 games. She allowed 2 goals. 2 goals. That is insane to me. Just insane. But yeah, America did it again. Megan Keller and Caroline Harvey both finished with 9 points. Layla Edwards had 8. Hannah Bilka had 7, as well as Abby Murphy. And then in terms of goals, Hannah Bilka led the way with 4 goals, only 1. And then Alex Carpenter, Hillary Knight, Megan Keller all had 3 goals apiece. And Megan Keller's goal in overtime, my God, holy shit. I mean this in the most respectful way possible to women's sports. She completely undressed that defender. Like, that move, so sweet. And the fact that she made that move and then finished it with a goal, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. That will forever be etched in the history of hockey and hockey fans. That was just purely unbelievable, awesome, could not have been done any bit better. And I do want to say one thing. I know a lot of people are up in arms regardless of if their team won or lost. They hate the idea that they did three on three for overtime. But I have this to say about that. Who gives a shit? And if I'm being completely honest, on a stage like that, playing 5-on-5 hockey, teams are going to be playing a lot more conservative and not wanting to win. So I think doing 3-on-3 is actually more fun. And suck it up. Like, it's life. Great game. Shout out to the women's team. They did a hell of a job of just purely dominating. So congrats to them. Now the men have to answer the call as they beat Slovakia today by a score of 6-2. Jack Hughes scoring 2 goals to get them to set up a date with Canada tomorrow for the gold medal game. And that thing is going to be a absolute movie. One of my co-workers said he was watching one of Canada's game and he's like, gosh, the fact that Connor McDavid, he said the fact that Macklin Celebrini, Nathan McKinnon, and Connor McDavid are all on a line together is just not fair. And it's a very good line, and that top line might be probably the best line in all of the Olympics. Respectfully, I don't think that's a great first line. I don't think Canada has much depth as we do. Their first line is probably hands down better than our first line. But we have 9, 10 guys on a team who are pretty interchangeable, whereas Canada, I just don't feel like has that much depth to the game than we do. And I think a big thing for the U.S. team coming to this game, our defensemen have really stepped up and put their mark on it, whereas Canada hasn't. So yeah, like I said, I kind of want to just look at going into the gold medal game. Yeah, Connor McDavid with 13 points, Macklin Celebrini with 10, but it's actually Minnesota Wild's own Quinn Hughes leading the way for America with 7 points. And then behind him, Jack Eichel, Jack Hughes, and Austin Matthews have 6 points apiece, as well as Matthew Tkachuk. And then you got Brady, Tkachuk, and Zach Werenski, both with 5 points apiece. And then as far as goals are concerned, we have Jack Hughes, Austin Matthews, and Brady Tkachuk with 3 apiece. And then Eichel with 2. Anybody else has a single goal, which is not bad. So it should make for a very interesting gold medal game. Shout out USA. Let's go. Last thing before we get out of the Olympics, I thought we'd look at the medal count. So as of right now, the U.S. is currently second in total medals with 29, only behind Norway, who has 37. But we're also second in gold, 10 to Norway's 17. We're first in silvers with 12. Or 6th in bronze. Oh, yeah, 10 golds, 12 silvers, 7 bronze. Once again, congratulations to all of the Olympians who participated. Thank you for representing the country. And go USA. Proud to be an American over here. Thank you guys. And then one last thing I did want to bring up before we get into, we're only really going to talk about the NBA tonight and the NFL a little bit, just because the NHL is still on their hold due to the Olympics. Want to give a quick shout out to the MSHSL. I feel bad that I didn't at least give them a shout out, regardless of not doing the podcast last week. But we've talked about it the last couple of years, and I love shouting it out. Men, girls and boys Minnesota State high school hockey tournament. The girls' state hockey tournament has already gotten underway, and Warroad and Breck are set up for a p.m. championship game tomorrow in class. I'm not kidding you still get the burps and everything from these non-alcoholic beers that you do from real beers. Or I should just say alcoholic beers. For class single A, and then for double A, my own Hill Murray Pioneers dispatched of the Edina Hornets. Fuck Edina. Earlier tonight, 3-2 to defend their crown, state championship crown. And they are patiently awaiting the winner of the Centennial Spring Lake Park and Holy Family game. Holy Family is the 3 seed. Centennial Spring Lake Park is a 2 seed. And Edina is the 4 seed. And fun fact, looking at this field for my alma mater, of the other 7 teams, Hill has played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. And they only lost to one of them, and the only one they lost to was Holy Family. So if they get an all-private school championship game, that would make for a very, very good game and an interesting matchup. So shout out to all the teams involved in the tournament, and shout out to all of the boys teams as section play has technically started earlier this weekend, but the big games kind of get started this weekend and wrap up next weekend. And then the state tournament for the boys team, for the boys, will start about 2 weeks from today. So good luck, congratulations to all teams involved, and best of luck going forward. And then, like I said, I only really had plans to talk about the Timberwolves and the NBA a little bit, and then the NFL and Vikings as well. The first thing I thought I would bring up, is kind of 2 things. Kind of All-Star weekend in general. It sounds like the consensus is the NBA kind of got out of the hellhole with how bad the All-Star Week used to be, and was actually competitive this time around. It sounds like Anthony Edwards got MVP of the weekend. Shout out my boy Ant. Huge truth. Excuse me. And I think dude should be well within the MVP conversation, regardless of what market he's playing in. But there was also something this week, and I made a TikTok about it and posted it for you guys. But there were a lot of comments this All-Star Weekend about anti-tanking rules and stuff like that. And sources with knowledge of Thursday's meeting, as well as a late January competition meeting, told ESPN that some of the concepts have been discussed to curb tanking are as such. One of them, first-round draft picks can be protected only for top 4 or top 14 plus selections. I don't understand that. Lottery odds freeze at the trade deadline or at a later date than the end of the regular season. This one I actually kind of like. No longer allowing a team to pick in the top 4 in consecutive years and or after consecutive bottom 3 finishes. Teams can't pick in the top 4 the year after making conference finals. Flatten odds for all lottery teams. Lottery extended to include all playing teams. Guys, I'm telling you, the best way to do it is to incentivize these teams to win. So if we go, I'm just going to check here. I don't think anybody is, but let's just look. Okay, so nobody is mathematically eliminated yet. However, with essentially there being 6-7 weeks left, you have the Sacramento Kings and the New Orleans Pelicans 31 and 28 games behind the Oklahoma City Thunder in the West, and you have the Indiana Pacers, Brooklyn Nets, and Washington Wizards 27.5, 26.5, and 25.5 points out of the Detroit Pistons. And what they should be doing to avoid this tanking bullshit is the second you get mathematically eliminated. So let's say the Sacramento Kings they have, 57 games left? No, they've done 57, so they got 25 games left. So if they get mathematically eliminated, let's say with 22 games left, what you do then is you say, now you need to, if you want the number one pick, you have to win games. So now, in 22 games, you have 22 total points, okay? And you do percentages. So of your 22 games, let's say they win 8. That's less than 50%, okay? That would be great, because then let's say maybe you get a team like the Washington Wizards, who are mathematically eliminated with 10 games to go, but they win 6 or 7 of those games. Then you look at the Chicago Bulls getting a higher pick than the Sacramento Kings because they won percentage-wise more of their games than the Kings do. I am a firm believer. I said it in the video. I'm a firm believer in this concept. A big, huge believer in this concept. I heard it years ago, and I think it's a phenomenal idea. They should institute it, and I think it would be the saving grace for anti-tanking. And they should just do it. They should do it, and it'll fix everything, because then you're actually giving these teams a reason to win games and play well to get those guys. And you're not just, we're eliminated, and let's just keep losing and get better chances. No, fuck that. I think tanking is stupid. And it has no place in professional sports. If you really want to tank, put in relegation. That's what I think. And then a little bit on the Timberwolves. They beat the Dallas Mavericks tonight, 122 to 111. And I'm really looking now to get a vice grip on moving up there currently right now with 35 and 22. The 5th seed, 8 games behind Oklahoma City, half a game out from the Houston Rockets and Denver Nuggets, who are 3 and 4. Only 5 games from the Spurs, who are number 2. I mean, this team could very realistically get the number 1 seed if they continue to ball out. They finished in their last 11 games coming into All-Star break were 8-3. And again, you don't want to count your chickens before they hatch. But after this Dallas win, you look at their next couple of games they got coming up here, and you got Philly, Portland, LA, who are all winnable games. And then you go to Denver, that should be a good game. Memphis, Toronto, Orlando, LA. If they can put themselves in a position where they can win 5-6 straight games here, even 5 or 6 doesn't seem like a lot, but then you close that gap between these teams, and then that allows you to be able to lose a game here and there, or win a game here and there, as long as you're not dropping 2 games consistently, things of that nature. But it's going to get real here. Timberwolves, very much like the other team, Sacramento Kings, have played 57 games now, so they got approximately 25 games left in the season. So if I had to put my God's honest truth on it, with 25 games left, I would say for a realistic chance to get the number 1 seed, I would say they probably need to win between 17 and 19 games of our last 25, which, again, it's going to be tough to do because you got to play Detroit twice, who is right there, LA, the Los Angeles Lakers, who are playing really well, the Clippers, who are twice, Denver, one more time, Oklahoma City, one more time, Boston, one more time. So, I mean, they're definitely going to have their work cut out for them. But if they play their brand of basketball, there's no reason they can't go 20 and 5 to end the season. So hopefully they can do just that. But like I said, like I always do for you guys, for the week leading up to the next podcast, Sunday the 22nd, they will be hosting the Philadelphia 76ers at 6 p.m. Tuesday the 24th in Portland at 9 p.m. And then Thursday the 26th, the night of the next podcast, 9 p.m. against the Clippers. And that's what I got for the Timberwolves. For the Vikings and the NFL, not a ton of new news. Again, for the NFL, you're not typically going to see much, if anything, kind of happening for a while. The end of the start of the new calendar year for the NFL doesn't start until I think the first or second weekend in March. So we still got a couple weeks until that'll happen. But I definitely see this being this being a fun offseason. I think there's going to be a lot of questions to be addressed, especially after Tyreek's release, Jake Rice's Lilo woes, what we're going to do in terms of Jordan Addison, what we're going to do at the quarterback spot. And I didn't really get any questions from any of you guys this week, which is totally fine, and I didn't really get any. But I did get, my brother did reach out to me. He said, are we really going to sign Kirk Cousins? And I said, probably not. And again, I kind of talked about this, but I'm going to reiterate this point again. For the Minnesota Vikings, there should be they should do for the quarterback position, one of two things. One, they should either go for the home run hit, even if you have to give up J.J. McCarthy. Go get Joe Burrow, go get Lamar Jackson, or go get Josh Allen. Like, everybody's talking, this team is in win-now mode. Give up a couple first-round picks, give up Jordan Addison, give up a combination of Jordan Addison, Dallas Turner, Jonathan Gennard, some of those types of players to make it happen. Go get one of those guys, and if you can't, just commit to J.J. McCarthy. I think in the next couple years, he is going to turn into a certified stud. The last thing we should be doing, and the only thing we should not do, is trading for an Anthony Richardson, trading for a Kyler Murray, trading for a Mac Jones. Because what's going to more than likely happen, even though Kevin O'Connell is the quarterback whisperer, none of those projects are going to go well. And in 3 or 4 years, when that contract or that guy dwindles, we're not going to be able to get anything for him. So I think you either swing for the fences, go get a quarterback to win now or within the next 1 to 4 years, or just commit to JJ, who legitimately could have you competing for a Super Bowl at a Super Bowl caliber level in 2 to 3 years, honestly. I think people need to get off his dick, for a lack of a better word. He was a rookie this last year, and people just are not giving him any grace, and it's not fair. He made some questionable plays, no doubt, but I think we realize how lucky we did have it with JJ available when we had those couple tough games with Carson Wentz. And do I need to bring up Max Brosmer? So I think just be patient. I think if you're the Vikings, and I probably sound like an idiot now because I did say I trusted Kwesi. I trust the Wolves, though. I do. I really like Kevin O'Connell. I think he's going to do good by the Vikings, and will put us in a position to be right back in the thick of things. And once again, it's not like despite our quarterback play this last year, it's not like we were far away from being a playoff team. We were technically third in the division. Yeah. Like, if there were 8 teams to get into the playoffs, we would have been the last team. Now, we probably would have lost to, maybe not. We probably would have lost our first game. It would have been against the Panthers, because Chicago and Philly would have gotten buys. Excuse me. No. Seattle and Chicago. But anyway, I mean, I just think people are so quick because they want this instant gratification, win now, everything. And I get it, don't get me wrong. But the last thing we need to do is have a quarterback competition between Kirk Cousins and JJ, or JJ and Kyler Murray, or JJ. Like, this is a young guy. Just let him develop, do his thing, or go get a big hit, big runner type of guy. I'd be fine with either, and it'll be a good off season. But I think the Vikings have a lot of key off season decisions to make that include guys like Jalen Naylor, Hawkinson. Who are some other guys that I've heard? What are we going to do with Jordan Addison? I really do think we should trade him because I think there are a couple teams out there that he would be a wide receiver one on, and a couple teams come to mind that would probably try to overpay for him despite his off-field issues, which those will never go away. What are we going to do cornerback-wise? What are we going to do to replace Harrison Smith? It's going to be interesting and it's going to be fun. So with that, remember this podcast is about you guys, the listeners. If you have a topic you want me to address or a question you want me to answer, please reach out on TikTok, Instagram, X, or Facebook, or email us or put in our comments on our YouTube videos. I'm checking everything regularly, but once again, be patient with me. With doing a little bit, some of you kind of go back and forth. I have been doing some content on my personal page. That doesn't mean I'm leaving or not looking at Minny Weekend stuff as much. I am. Again, just be patient with me. We got a lot going on at home. But reach out and we will address them on the podcast, and let me know if you want to stay anonymous with as well. Also, follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can get notified of the new episode as soon as it comes out. Until next time, Minny.